weeks ago, we asked who you'd like to see Godzilla fight in the sequel. Here are the results of our online poll. By the way, for the Godzilla rookies out there, Mechagodzilla is Godzilla's evil robot twin. Two weeks ago, Disneyland unveiled its revamped Tomorrowland. The $100 million makeover has given Disney's World of the Future 5 new attractions and a whole new look. Soon after the ribbon was cut, I checked the place out and probed the creative mind of Tony Baxter, who oversaw the renovation. He told me his main challenge was to make the new Tomorrowland reassuring, in an age when the future is often seen as threatening.
We had to kind of reinvent the future and turn away from the dark, kind of apocalyptic futures that have been the norm now for, say, 20 years. I think Blade Runner kind of set the standard, which people have been emulating now for a long time. So what you see is sort of the antithesis of that.
When Disneyland opened in the 50s, Tomorrowland echoed a confident, distinctly American vision of the future. But Disney researchers found that in the 90s, people no longer yearned for a Jetsons-style urban techno future. Tomorrowland had become Yesterland.
Well, it felt Expo-like. It felt like the last great bastion of the 60s. Yeah. The New York World's Fair, up in Montreal, I believe, and there was one over in Japan. And it had that. Every building was an expo site. Now, what we try to do is create more like a town square.
I think the Disney planners have succeeded in creating a less alienating and more comfortable place. They've deep-sixed the cold chrome, concrete, and harsh colors and replaced them with earth tones and cobblestones. They've created a subliminal message that the future will be an eco-friendly Garden of Eden by making all the landscaping edible. Okay, let's see here. We got our tomatoes here. We got onions. We got, I don't know, I'm not good with my vegetables. But don't get the idea Tomorrowland has become a farm. The main draw is still the attractions, and the new ones include rocket rods, the water maze, Honey, I Shrunk the Audience, and the Astro Orbiter. But the new stuff is often rooted in the past. For instance, the Astro Orbiter is based on a sketch by Leonardo da Vinci, and they brought back a replica of the original Tomorrowland rocket ship, retired in the 60s.
The rocket to the moon behind us is probably the last great symbolic shape of pre-travel to the moon versions of going to the moon. And so we brought it back because it symbolizes dreams of going to the moon rather than the reality of going to the moon.
Baxter says that dreams of the future are the essence of Tomorrowland, and those dreams can come from the past as well as the present, but they must be fun.
I think it takes away the intimidation. It says Tomorrowland. I had fun in Tomorrowland. Therefore, when I get to be a resident of the future, I'm going to like that too.
Now, I bet when Walt Disney was making the original Tomorrowland, he never even dreamed of professional internet gaming.
No, or even the internet at all, for that matter.
Well, now we've got both. So let me introduce you to the world's first professional cyber athlete, Dennis Fong, a.k.a. Thresh.
I'm Thresh. I play computer games, more specifically 3D action games such as Quake and Doom. Thresh is my online persona. Offline, I'm just a regular person. But online, the name Thresh is feared amongst a lot of the Quake players, just because I've developed a reputation for myself to be a very proficient player. And, I am undefeated in every tournament that I've entered. In total, I think I've won about $100,000 in cash and prizes. I was around 15, I think. 14 or 15 when I first started playing these games. I played them maybe 2-3 hours a night, maybe after midnight, after hanging out with friends and stuff, and I would have nothing to do. A lot of people go watch TV at night. I just went to play this game, and I didn't even realize that I was any good until, these tournaments started popping up and I was winning. As with all parents, you can always study more. So when I was playing these games when I was younger, they're always on my case saying, you should be studying, or, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? And that's really understandable. But it was not up till I won the Ferrari and I brought it home. That, you know, now it's kind of like, why aren't you practicing? You know, get on it, you know, get your skills up there. When I'm playing, I'm told that I'm usually stone cold. Like I show no emotions whatsoever. So, you know, if I'm having a bad game or a good game, or I'm doing well, I had a good shot, you know, it doesn't really affect my overall demeanor. And I think that's actually an advantage over a lot of players who get nervous or get upset. I think for me, I just analyze the game a lot more than regular people, and I pick up patterns and anticipate other people's moves a lot quicker. My brother and a couple friends and I, we realized that there were no real strategy sites out there that helped the average player get to the level where a lot of the good players were. And so we decided to start a company, Gamers Extreme, and form a website, which is www.gamers.com, where, you know, we offer free strategy guides for people to read and browse over the web. I think I'm really happy with where I'm at right now. I wouldn't mind doing this for the rest of my life. You know, it's just playing games, and, you know, I can't think of anything more fun than just playing games. You know, it's kind of like asking Pete Sampras, you know, would you like to play tennis for the rest of your life?
Her fans think she's flawless. Find out for yourself when we get close to Lucy Lawless. I win!
Without him, T-Rex would be just a museum piece. But author Michael Crichton didn't start out to be a writer.
A live person who's becoming a cartoon, and a restaurant where you can get an incredible Hulk burger.
Hi, I'm Scott Nance.
And I'm Chase Masterson. Welcome to the brave new world of sci-fi entertainment. Let's get started at warp speed with the latest buzz from the Sci-Fi Wire. As everyone knows, the first of the new Star Wars prequels blasts into theaters next year. Now, to keep the story secret, director George Lucas has required an oath of silence from his entire cast and crew. But that hasn't stopped us from pumping the film's stars like Samuel L. Jackson.
He implanted this thing in my mouth, and if I told you the truth about what I did in it, my head would blow up. No, oh, stop. Yoda's, you know, fine, dandy, younger than he was in the last film. Even though you'd never know about it, it's just, you know, it's like 3 less wrinkles in one corner of his eye.
Thanks for the scoop, Sam. But really, considering how phenomenally well the Star Wars re-releases did last year, I don't think George Lucas needs to worry about fans lining up at the box office, no matter how much we find out in advance.
There's a lot of getting wet. And Vancouver's a very wet town, so a lot of times you're working out in the cold and the damp.
It's official. The X-Files is moving from Vancouver to Los Angeles for its 6th season. David Duchovny has been complaining all year about having to work so far away from his wife, Deep Impact star Téa Leoni. He's even threatened to quit rather than work another year up north. But the show's creator, Chris Carter, denies he bowed down to his star's demands. Carter says that with the X-Files movie coming out next month, now was just the natural time to change locales. I think Carter was just outfoxed. For more on the X-Files film, check out the July issue of Sci-Fi Entertainment magazine on newsstands May 19th. And talk about buzz. Listen to this.
Anything goes. Smoking, being sexually creative, drinking, jumping off of buildings.
You'll get more on Téa Leoni and David Duchovny on next week's show. Don't miss it. I know you won't.
I don't know if you need any more reason to see Deep Impact than to watch Téa Leoni on the big screen for a change. But there's also this comment in the movie, as well as all these special effects. But here's a really unique take of the film from writer Amanda Finch.
Send a woman to review a disaster film. Those testosterone-driven noise fests usually don't appeal to me, but when I heard there was a woman at the helm of Deep Impact, I thought it only appropriate that I check it out. The 1990s have brought us hip, slick disaster flicks. Big stars, big budgets, the best effects we've ever seen, and a big 0 on the fun factor. Volcano was about as much fun as setting yourself on fire, and Dante's Peak was the first time I actually rooted for the disaster. Now we have the kinder, gentler meteor movie, Deep Impact, the disaster movie for chicks, by chicks. Directed by Mimi Leader, this DreamWorks release stars Taya Leone as an ambitious MSNBC news hound who stumbles onto the end of the world. Deep Impact features a fine disaster cast, ranging from Vanessa Redgrave to that guy from Men Behaving Badly. Morgan Freeman plays the president who has to explain to the country that a giant asteroid will hit the Earth in a matter of weeks and less than 1 million people can be saved. There's another plot involving a group of astronauts trying to knock the meteor off its course in space, but it's secondary. Remember, this is a woman's disaster movie. We don't need all those boys with toys, and we don't need to shave our heads or get all sweaty to save the world. Apparently, we do have babies, though. Lots of them. Deep Impact features more pregnant women, scenes of women holding children, women comforting children, and children doing cute things than an episode of Mego. There's even a scene where a woman applies makeup and flips through her family album. Now that's girl power. But boys, don't let this female-friendly focus scare you away. The effects are dazzling, the plot is sufficiently scary, and there are just enough nuclear weapons, military command centers, and dead bodies to keep your manhood intact. Now, I'm not suggesting that we turn disaster movies into long Revlon commercials with explosions, but a little mascara never hurt anybody. I'm Amanda Finch, and that's just my opinion.
Coming up, a real-life, living, breathing anime character. Is the world ready for Apollo Smile? And join us for some mutant chicken wings at the Marvel Mania restaurant.